All right, got my other tablet here, just double checking if the audio is coming through. Let's have a look. If you're in the chat and you can hear my voice and the audio is coming through, just put a yes or a one in the chat. Testing. If you're in the chat and you can hear my voice and the audio is coming through, just put a yes. Right. It sounds like it's coming through the chat. So, first of all, welcome. And this is the very first live stream that have pretty much been done on this channel, and this is going to be quite an interesting one. First of all, because it's kind of my main first live stream here, and what we're going to be actually talking about is we're going to be talking about building an AI script to video editor. But of course, it's New Year's Eve, and I wish everyone a good New Year's Eve. I like New Year's Eve because it's a good time to, at least at the end of the year, is a good time to reflect and just kind of see what like how retroactively our 2024, the things that we've achieved, and ideally the things that we're yet to achieve in 2025. So yeah, I wish everyone a great New Year's Eve and a great 2025. So what we're going to be doing is actually making this a bit of a collaboration. So if you're in the chat, just drop a message or so, and then I would be able to respond if I can actually work this. Let me see if I can get the chat up. Okay, cool. So what we're going to be talking about is building an AI script to video editor. Now, the last time we've done projects or so, it's been quite we've been doing projects whereby ideally we have an idea and we've been developing it to a point where it's almost like this prototype that we can actually build on top of. And of course, it's been an open source thing, so anyone can contribute or build their own thing. The code's available and all. One thing that this is actually we're looking at is actually building a full-on quote unquote product. Let's see how far we can push the product, actually the project, into the product territory. So that's kind of the goal of what we're doing here. So what is Script Editor? Let's actually go into it and actually show you the actual demo straight away, so we can actually have an idea of what this is. So I am gonna just show you my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. What I just want to go straight into it, and then of course we can do a bit more talking, just so you can get an idea of kind of what we're going to be talking about in this stream. So what you see here is an actual script that was written earlier, and this script is, if you just see it load up, is about Henry Ford. And it's like this: in the earliest 20th century, a visionary emerged from the shadows of the history, changing the world forever. His name was Henry Ford, a man with a dream that ignited a revolution. So taking this script, what this actual product does is it actually breaks this down into a scene by scene and actually puts this into a cohesive video. So what you see here is the content workflow. So this is where the video is actually created. And we'll talk about exactly how the video is. And I hope you can hear my voice. I'm trying to figure out how to actually see the chat. Let me see if I can see the chat here. Hey, what's up? What's up? Hey. Wait. The sound, it sounds super low. Okay. Let me see if I can put this up. Give me a second. I'm gonna have to hit this on max. Does this sound any better, or do I need to get closer to the mic? Oops. Does this sound any better? Just give me a 1 or a yes if you could hear a bit better. I'm just gonna have to put this really close to. All right, if there's any other audio issues, just let me know. So what you see here is actually the script converted into a video. Now I'm gonna play this, and you're gonna see exactly what the script is doing. So you can see here. Let's have a look.
In the early 20th century, a visionary emerged from the shadows of history, challenging the status quo. And
I hope you can see this.
Ford brought the automobile.
Hold on, let me see if we can get the live chat. Let's have a look.
T.
Okay, it looks like it's coming through. Okay, perfect. So I was wondering if it was not coming through. So what you see here is actually it being played. Let me just actually play it.
Inaccessible to everyday Americans. His innovative assembly line techniques revolutionized manufacturing, setting new standards for efficiency and productivity. Ford's impact extended beyond the automotive industry, influencing the way we live and work. Today, we stand on the shoulders of giants like Henry Ford, who dared to dream and...
So what you're seeing here is actually the scripts being translated into an actual video. So you saw that in the earliest 20th century, a visionary emerged from the shadows of history, changing the world forever. His name was Henry Ford. So you can see how we do this here. We're just going to load the scenes, and then we're just going to show what exactly is happening. We're taking this video and then we're breaking it down. We're adding sound effects, which is actually done by generative AI. We'll also talk about that. We'll talk about how we got this voiceover going and all. But you can get the idea here. We're taking a script and we're translating into a video. We have the ability to actually move things on the timeline, as you can see here. So I'm just gonna move this. In fact, I can toggle these off if I choose to, or I can just move this like another video editor. Now you can hear it again.
In the early 20th century, a visionary emerged from the shadows of history, changing the world forever. His name was Henry Ford, a man with a dream that ignited a revolution. From humble beginnings, Ford rose to prominence, challenging the status.
So what you're seeing here is first of all, a first video that has been created by this. Another one, which was actually a biography on Shaka Zulu. And then you can see that this is now in, you saw the previous one was in a 16:9 format. So this is a typical YouTube aspect ratio. Now the other one is going to be a 9:16. So this is actually for YouTube shorts. So it's just basically landscape to portrait, just a flip. What you see here is, now I'm going to also talk about this. Now I want you to also look at this and also hear, if you can hear the background music. This is totally done by AI. It's generative AI sound effects. The images are being created via what we have. We're actually using DALL-E 3, but we're going to also iterate on this. Right now, this is like the version 1 of it. This is called Scripteditor.ai. To be honest, I should probably put the actual name Scripteditor.ai on what we're looking at right now. So okay, it's in the title, but I would put it into some banner or something. But you can see here, I'm going to play this now.
The cinematic detail of Shaka Zulu's remarkable rise to power. Shaka Zulu was born in the early 1780s, the illegitimate son of Chief Sensing Kona of the Zulu clan. Despite his lowly status, Shaka possessed an insatiable thirst for knowledge and a fierce determination to prove himself. As a young man, he honed his skills in combat.
You can hear some background fighting. Yeah, I'm gonna also kind of go.
But he refused to be defeated. He united disparate tribes under his rule, forging a powerful army that struck fear into the hearts of his enemies.
And how these is built is, as you can see, there's different layers that build this. Of course, if I isolate specific parts, like for example this, and then also make the sound effects louder. For example, we take this and increase the sound. I want you to also hear the sound that's playing.
Shaka's early years were marked by betrayal and adversity, but he refused.
This is generative AI sound effects that we've actually implemented. So what you're seeing here is that we are taking a script. In fact, let's actually go into the script, and you can see that we have actual granular controls to actually edit the scenes. If we go to Scripteditor itself, you can see here, in the hearts of Africa, amidst the rolling hills and vast savannas, a warrior emerged whose name would be echoed through the annals of history. And you can see how this is actually translated into the video we have here. And you can try this out too right now on Scripteditor.ai. We'll also talk about what this, we'll talk about it a bit more.
The heart of Africa, amidst the rolling hills and vast savannas, a warrior emerged whose name would echo through the annals of history.
You can hear that the drums in this drums is actually also generative, and then there's an actual library that's actually created where you can add all these more different types of audios or so. So for example, drum playing. You can hear it, it's like slightly off, but this is in fact actually actual live. this is actually generated by artificial intelligence, which is very kind of interesting because it actually it's a whole new paradigm of how content creation could be as we're going into, well, in fact, the year 2025 and beyond. And we're going to be talking about this in a bit more detail. So what I just wanted to show you this kind of script to video editor kind of feature. But what we want to actually give you is the whole kind of end-to-end content creation, and why, in fact, this is what we're building, and why I decided to build this kind of solution. So I actually want to take it a step back and actually go into the why of what we're doing. So now, of course, our previous projects that we've done, we've always had this why of why we're building this from our robotics. Like, for example, the smart home automation. What was the why behind that? We wanted to have a way that we can have granular controls of our own kind of smart home automation system without the idea of it being associated with big tech. Also, we can have our simple Raspberry Pi, and then we can also encrypt our own servers and can have this all to ourselves without much interference. And so this was the whole idea of, like, for example, let's say the smart CCTV camera, even the likes of the smart mirror, and even the robotics. For example, when we're talking about building an AI video editor, well, not the AI video editor, but building a robotic delivery robot, the whole idea here is how can we look at it and see what could last mile delivery be? Because last mile delivery is actually one of the most expensive parts from actually going from the warehouse to your home, and can this be automated? So there was always a why behind this. Now, the why behind this and why this was built is actually something personal. It's actually, and the personal thing here is content creation itself. For me, content creation is, it's something that takes a lot of process for me to actually do, especially when it comes to building, let's say, for example, the tutorials we do, because it has to be a cohesive tutorial. At the same time, it has to have somewhat of an entertainment factor, as well as editing, as well as also the actual material inside it. And then an idea just came to mind. It's like, hey, can we automate this? And then this was kind of a couple years back, and I never really thought about this, but just over like the last few months, of course, it just came back to me. And then this is kind of like the result of what we are actually building here, and it's Scripteditor.ai. Now, the whole idea here is that we want to actually see how we can streamline content creation and make it as simplified as possible. Now, I want to actually show you on a different slide what I am talking about. So let's actually start off with the problem statement here. So if I can get my screen to show, let's see. What I want to show you is another screen, and if we can get this screen to show, that would be great. Discard. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this is a very raw live stream. It's actually, I just thought about, hey, since we're actually doing this retrospective of the New Year's Eve, let's actually make something and do something different and see how we could actually do something related to just content creation, and also kind of share this New Year's Eve together as we go into 2025. So anyways, what we see here is actually, if you can see my screen, hold on, let me actually check the comments. I might be talking to myself. I'm actually building a robotic arm. Don't know how to download the HTC. Can you please tell me how? Yep, sure. So you are building the robotic arm. I don't know how to download the HCP file. Oh, is this are you referring to the server motor? If you are, I would send you the link. If you actually go to the there's a blog. So if you look at the GitHub of this robotic arm, you would see that it was attached to a blog on smartbuilds.io, and in there you would see a link to, I believe if you're referring to it, it's the file for the server motor files, and you just need to download this. This will be a zip file, and once you see the zip file, just go to your Arduino library. If you're looking at the software, click manage, then libraries, something like that, and import it, and then you should be good on that, and then that should address the compilation errors on that. This was about 4 years ago, so I don't know how the UI has changed on that, but if it's the same, it should be that. Anyways, now let's actually go to the traditional workflow. So when you're talking about content creation as a content creator, and it's kind of interesting because ever since I've last did a few videos like this, content creation has changed quite a bit in terms of, we have the likes of YouTube Shorts, we have the like of TikTok, and also Instagram Reels and so on. Now, because of this, there's also kind of this idea of fast form content, and this is the reason, and also with the likes of AI, it's kind of really changed the kind of flow. So this is why sometimes you're on your YouTube Shorts and you kind of see these videos and it has these subtitles moving. It's very loud and very like eye catching also. And also we have the like of brain rot kind of YouTube Shorts, but that's a whole different story that we'll talk about also. And we'll also talk about how this can all be like created. So, but in terms of the traditional workflow, when it's about creating a script, and this is just a traditional video, you typically have a Notion or Google Docs, or if it's some collaborative material with a team, you create the script, and then once you create the script, you decide to film. And when you're filming, this will be the likes of what I'm doing right now, whereby we have the mic stand, we're talking, or this could be outside or so. And this is the content creation process in terms of the filming. And then once we've filmed and we got enough of the raw file, we decide to go to our favorite video editor. And our favorite video editor in this case is Final Cut Pro. And then we just stitch it together, and then this is our canvas ideally of creating our how we want to structure our video to fit whatever narrative or kind of strategic kind of end goal of what we're trying to get to. So for example, if it's like a review, if it's a comedy sketch, you have the kind of canvas to construct what you want to do, of course, in terms of the editing of it. And then after that, you go to post-production. Post-production can be simple touch-ups, or in fact, it could just be changing the aspect ratio, so it can be sent to different platforms. And so now, this is the traditional workflow, and let's actually talk about what this workflow involves. In order to this workflow, and if I just scroll out a bit, this is very sensitive. If I just scroll out a bit, zoom out a bit, you'd see that we started at the very left at one platform, which would have been a Notion or Google Docs or so. And then after doing that, we had to go to making the actual film itself. In terms of the content creation, this could be a matter of actually creating the animations, or actually drawing it, or going online and then purchasing assets to build our video or so. And then we have to then go to another platform, which would be, or another tool or workflow, which will be the film editing. And then once we edit the film, and so we then have to figure a way to actually have a strategy to post these videos to different platforms, and then handle the different aspect ratios. For example, YouTube, we want to make it a full 16:9 aspect ratio for TikTok Shorts, and TikTok and some kind of X. We want to use like a 9:16, so it's going to be quick scroll content. For Instagram, it might be a 1:1 aspect ratio if it wants to be a story. And then this is kind of a lot of context switching when you're going through like the creating of the script. Then you have to go to editing the raw video, and then in general, it tends to be a structured approach. Like for example, once you get to the post-production, you can't really go back to creating the script or so. Or we can't have like, what I would say, if it allows me to do this, probably not. Let me see. If it allows me to do this, what I want to show you is we can't really do this, whereby it's like a loop. If I can show you, imagine this going back as a loop. Imagine this arrow. Let's see. This arrowhead goes back like this, and then this should be like that, and then this should be normal. So let's see if we can see that a bit better. You can see like now we have it as a cyclical loop. Imagine if we were able to do this. And so by, for example, let's say we've edited it and we got to post-production and we want to improve the actual workflow. We can do this. Now, this is what we are trying to address. Can we create content real quickly and use artificial intelligence to enhance what we're doing, enhancing our creativity, as well as address the idea of context switching. So imagine a simple web application that allows us to do this all together, as well as one also important thing is actually, it's called skill issue. But the thing about this is that when it comes to content creation, there is a big variation between really great content, video editors, and then there's also kind of a learning curve if you want to learn video creation. And because of that, it has a gap in terms of the variance of the variation of like content creation. And the whole idea is like, can we at least lift the floor off this? So there's at least a standard in terms of how we can at least curate these videos really quickly. So this is where Scripteditor comes into the picture. Let me see if... Oh, thanks Logic23. I appreciate the thumbs up. Also, if you also please like the video. I always hear like people say that on live streams. Yeah, but yeah, like this video. Let's see if we can get this into the algorithm also. So what I want to actually show you is actually how Scripteditor works. Now, if you would like to, you can actually test Scripteditor out. It's basically, you write a script, or you can actually generate the script and it turns it into a video just like this, whereby you have the ability. So let's actually start from here. We actually click on script generator. We can actually ask it to generate us a script, or we can write our script ourselves. Once we've written our script, we have the ability then to do some further processing or like optimization of that script, and then it will be giving us an option to generate the script. Once we generate the script, and this is the one on Henry Ford that we just talked about, we see it create this all together. We'll talk about the technicals about this later on, but all just to give you an idea is that logically what we're doing is we're going to pretty much an AI and a bunch of handling it, and the logic would be like, hey, this is my script. Now I want you, AI, to be the director, and then you see all these paragraphs. Can you break them down into cinematic scenes? And of those cinematic scenes, can you give me an idea of how, for example, the first paragraph of this, how would you break this down into an image? Can you give me an image that captivates in the early 20th century, a visionary emerged? Can you give me an idea of like what this will look like as an image? Can you give me an idea of like the sound that would be that is appropriate to this, like for example a rising kind of drums or so? And can you also give me a voiceover that's appropriate for this? It then pretty much gives me a list of these kind of instruction sets that are then fed to these various type of workers that would, for example, create the image, create the actual audio, and create sound effects. Now also on top of that, we're also able to add transitions to it. So for example, there'll be like a slow fade. Let's actually have a look at the fade. Like for example, let's go to the Henry Ford example. If I can switch my screen here, and you can see here that you can see how it starts off as low.
In the early 20th century,
and it comes in.
Emerged from the shadows.
I don't know if their frame rates are kind of low on the live stream, but you can see that.
Changing the world forever. His name was Henry Ford, a man with a dream that ignited a revolution. From humble beginnings, Ford rose to prominence. And
as you can see, if you look at it slowly, you can see how it's slightly zooming out. This is a still picture, but this is just version 1. We're just using pictures for it now, and then we're gonna add some parallax effects or so. But it's gonna be to the point that it's going to take this actual image and then we're going to extrapolate, for example, the background. So it's an actual moving image of like B-rolls or so. So you can see if
challenging the status quo and reshaping the future of transportation. With the introduction of the Model T, Ford brought the automobile to the masses, making it accessible to everyday Americans.
And of course, yeah, so this is kind of the idea of what I was talking about. So if we just go back to the other thing, we see here that it's this first paragraph. It breaks it down into these various images, audio, sound effects, transitions, and then it goes and pretty much constructs this video bit by bit on its own. And this is what kind of makes it interesting, because typically, if I just go back to here, for normal video editors, you will have to manually create this and splice these images bit by bit. But what this does is that it takes a script, generates the whole spliced video, and then provides you the actual editor so you can do any further additional editing towards it. And this is pretty much how it goes. So if we now go back to here, once we create the script, as mentioned, we're able to then generate the actual audio that goes with it. And then so this is all handled by itself. And then once this is done, we're able to then export it to various channels. So for example, I'll show you one that I did for and if you're on Twitter, do follow. I currently am putting together basically I've been documenting the whole kind of process of this. Now this one's about Leonardo da Vinci. I just literally said, hey, create me a script about Leonardo da Vinci, and then we'll be able to go for that. So this is one on Leonardo da Vinci.
An invention. Born in a time of turmoil, he rose above the chaos to create wonders that would shape the future. From his early days in Florence to the grand halls of Milan, Da Vinci's an invention.
And then one thing I was talking about here is that we actually have generative sound effects here. So I don't know if you can hear right now, but you can hear like bustling street sounds that match this image.
Born in a time of turmoil, he rose above the chaos to create wonders that would shape the future.
And if you want to see this for yourself, also just have a look at I would also, can I put things in the chat? I'm going to put things in the chat. So this is the Instagram. No, actually, this is X. Okay, and then you can also look into it further along, because I've been currently just like talking about how we can create these videos, and then I've been documenting it. For example, this is a script on Godzilla vs King Kong, and so and you can see that this is a kind of an early example. Now, if you're in the chat, do give an example of a new script we can do, and then we'll do one in real time just to show you how this works. Now, this is Scripteditor itself. Now, I've talked about exactly the kind of script to video editor, but ideally, if I can give you an idea of what it is, it's a content creation workflow that handles the whole process from script to video and even thumbnail creation. So you can even see the thumbnail itself was actually created in Scripteditor here. You can see that we're able to add text and like stuff. For example, this is a test or so. We can also draw. I haven't used this feature in a while, so this will be interesting to see if this would work. But before we actually go into this, I actually want to show you a live example of us actually creating a script. So if you're in the channel, if you're in the chat, just give an example of a idea. The more random it is, the better. So if it's, the last one was Godzilla vs King Kong. I even have I also want to mention, once you create the scripts, this is your dashboard. So you can see that I've just created a series of scripts. For example, Spider-Man, Godzilla vs King Kong. There was an earlier version of Godzilla vs King Kong, but they were just too big. This was also about the rise of Caesar, and so this was also just a generative story about a woman and then how she goes on an adventure or so. This is about the rise of, pretty much the biography of Shaka Zulu, Mansa Musa, and then so basically historical figures like Leonardo DiCaprio, Da Vinci, and so on. So once you generate this, you also have this dashboard, and the whole idea is almost making it close to like a YouTube dashboard. So for example, once you get to this part, you created your script, you can go to publishing. Once you go to publishing, this is where you can create whatever you want, and as you can see, it automatically generated the actual thumbnail. It looks like there's the birth and democracy of ancient Greece. All right, Neil, that's a great one. Let's do this, the birth and democracy of ancient Greece. So there is a bit of a lag in terms of the playback. I think I'm behind by like a minute or two, but I've now got this. Thanks, Neil Grant. Let's actually have a look at doing this. So I hope, should I wait for this to catch up? It ain't gonna catch up. So we're just gonna go straight into it. First, we go to new script to just create a script, or we can just create a blank canvas just like this. One thing I want to talk about also is more about the technicalities and the technical details in terms of like how this was created. For example, using Next.js, what kind of software stack or kind of technical stack we use, for example, from Next.js to like our backend to the workers that we're using also. So now I just want to give you an example here. So I've created the script. This is a blank canvas, and as you can see, it's like Notion. We have a bunch of stuff that we can do with it. So for example, I can go to I can write a script or so, and then I'm gonna choose to, if I actually go back to here and just kind of give you an example of how this looks. This is how a typical script looks like. It's got inbuilt editor kind of material. So for example, it's an actual full-blown editor. For example, we can make things bold. We can actually add some, for example, just the normal kind of stuff. But one thing I want to also show you also is that we have rephrase. So for example, you don't like a certain kind of part of your script. So for example, Shaka Zulu was born to the illegitimate sound of this. Also, we can actually ask the script to change the sentiment. Now, when it changes the sentiment, like you know, with all these, it kind of rephrases it into the sentiment we want. So for example, we can change this to this neutral tone into something funny. Now, the thing about why this is kind of important is because when it comes to content creation, it's always important to get a hook for example, to captivate the audience. So I'm going to make this funny. And then what you see here is that it will take this Shaka Zulu was born, as you saw before, and it says, Shaka came into this world. Okay, so as the cheeky illegitimate, so it kind of rephrased it into a different way. If I don't like it, I can also choose to try again, or I can change the sentiment to something a bit more funnier or angry or so. So Shaka Zulu burst onto the scene in the crazy 1780s as the sassy love child of Chief Senzo Nakona from the Zulu squad. So this is, you can see how it kind of changes the kind of mood and the sentiment. We can replace it, and then boom, it's totally replaced. And of course, there are some kind of optimizations. For example, I saw that it removed one character here, but this is something that is going to be kind of fixed. And this is the actual interesting thing here. I really recommend you to try this. Go to Scripteditor.ai, and then we'll go to the so let me see if I can do https://scripteditor.ai. Now, I want to also mention, this is like version 1. So do expect possibly some bugs, but this is why it's really important to get your feedback. And then there's this feedback thing here that will take you to the Discord, and if you were able to kind of give any feedback or any features that you think will improve, that will be much appreciated. And I'm thinking of actually doing like a contributors list whereby I can also give credit to whoever provided a feature that that would be implemented here. So actually, let's now go back to what we're talking about. So you kind of saw how a script looked like when it's already created. Now I can choose to talk about the birth of democracy in ancient Greece by what Neil recommended. I can choose to write this, or as you can see here, we are going to talk about script generator. Oh, geez. Is it not changing the script? Oh, wow. So what we were showing, it was not, we were actually looking at a different screen. This is the screen that we should be looking at right now. Okay, this is the screen we should be looking at right now. So funny enough, we probably missed what I was talking about here, but I just wanted to show you it quickly right now. We're now showing the script, script that has been created. What we can choose to do is actually change the script. So for example, if we want to do, we can actually change the kind of sentiment of this. If we don't like a specific part, this is a full-on editor. We can change the sentiment, for example, to something funny. It's already funny, but you can see that the AI will be able to reword this into a certain thing. So for example, Shaka Zulu made a grand entrance in the wild 1780s as the feisty offspring of Chief Senza Nakona from the Zulu crew. And you can see how it kind of changes the sentiment. As it changes the sentiment, this is kind of really important because when we're creating this content, we want to also have something that creates this hook also, so we can replace the section. So I think we lost about kind of a few minutes on, probably more on that, but I hope you guys could understand what I was saying audibly also. So this is actually how a script is created. Now let's go to the actual creation of what Neil has recommended, the birth of and democracy in ancient Greece. Now if I go back to here, you can see that is a blank canvas, and this is where I can choose to write it like a normal Google Doc, or I can actually use, in fact, I'm just going to take Neil's recommendation and click the script generator. Now the script generator is quite an interesting tool. It basically creates the script for us, aptly named. So let's actually do this. So all I have to do is just give it a small prompt. The more you actually provide in the prompt, the better it gets. So in fact, let's actually do this. So a cinematic script on the democracy of ancient Greece. Yes. Okay. So we could talk about that. A cinematic script on the description. Well, it doesn't matter. So it would be able to understand it. We probably can say a cinematic script on the democracy of ancient Greece. We can choose the sentiment. For example, do we want it cheerful? Do we want it thoughtful? Do we want it dramatic or so? In this case, let's make it more dramatic. We can choose the platform, in this case YouTube, and let's make this 1 minute short or so. And then with that, all we're just going to do is click generate script, and then it's going to create the script. And then you see that there's a credit system and how it works. So boom, this is what we have. Thanks for the recommendation, Neil. So it says here, in the cradle of civilization, a beacon of democracy emerged. Ancient Greece. Picture a world where every voice mattered, where citizens gathered in the agora to debate and decide the fate of their city-state. So you can see how this created this just based on our prompts. And then with this is our kind of piece that we're actually going to now convert into a video based on what I discussed earlier. So to do that, all we have to just do is actually click generate script. Now, how this actually works is that, of course, we're using kind of AI, for example, OpenAI to create these kind of images or so. So there's actually this ability that has been implemented, which is this idea of credits, so that I don't end up like going in debt. So, but the whole idea here is that when you have credits, you'll be able to, you have a quota on how many like videos you can make a day or so. So you can see I've used about 227 out of 2,500. So you can see that the script is here. Now, actually, let's do something. I remember when I talked about what we can do, we can change the script. Let's ask AI to make it like funny or so. Maybe more persuasive. We can actually click on persuasive, and then what it's going to do is kind of take that part of the script that we talked about, which is like from, it's going to take that script, and then it's going to reword it like this, and then we can replace the section. And you can see that it's now replaced it into something that may be more appealing to what we want to do. We can choose to save also. Now, the next part, once we create the script, I'm taking my time with this, but I want to give you an idea of this. Once we create the script, we can click generate video. Now, generate video is going to give us the ability to optimize the script further. So you know how I mentioned it's like, hey, we're giving this script to AI, and then we're kind of saying, hey, AI, become the director, and I want you to become the film crew. I want you to become the sound, like have the sound department, and then curate the script into what you feel like is going to be the best thing to logically create these scenes. This is what we're doing here. It costs about 3 credits. What we're just going to do is just basically make that call of what I just discussed, and it's just going to optimize the script just slightly. Boom. Once we have that, the script is optimized, and then from here, now all is left is actually the creation of the video. Now the thing about videos like this is I hope this generates easily, but all you have to do is click generate video, and then now we're going to generate the video. Now this takes about a minute or 2 to generate, and this is live based on Neil's recommendation. So let's see how this turns out. So as this generates, what I can explain is what's happening. So everything I just mentioned is just going to, hey, take this script. Now I want you to make the audio. I want you to make the visuals, and then sound effects, any transitions that might be useful. Put this all together, and once you have this done, I want you to splice this down and create a video editor with all of these, so I can choose to edit further, or I can just kind of publish straight away. So this is exactly what it's doing right now. So it's generating this live, and how this is done, this is going to be about a 60-second video based on the settings that we've provided or so. So we're just going to let this generate, and in fact, I'm not going to change the screen so you can at least see how long this is going to take. Hey, Just, how you doing? So by the way, what we're doing is building a script to video editor. The whole idea is that it takes a script and translates it into a video. This is just version 1, and then of course, as time goes on, it's going to become much more kind of interesting also, but I would show you how this looks once it's generated this video. So it's now just doing everything here. So you can see that there's this estimated credits. So this is the estimated number of credits that it's going to cost to make this. Once it's generated these credits, it's also got the number of scenes that it's going to make. So it's saying, we estimate that it's going to make about 8 scenes, and scenes are just ideally like an image, whereby, or kind of, well, a scene is just a normal scene, just a specific point where you talk about a narrative or so. So that's what it's doing here, and it's estimated that the time would be about 132 seconds. So this is actually going to be just over a minute, about 2 minutes and 12 seconds or so. Yep, the music will make or break the video, and that's a very good point that you mentioned, because this is on top of the, okay, you can see it's now implemented here. You see how we are using generative AI to make this video. We're also using that to make them sound effects, and actually we want to actually talk more about that. But now you can see that it's turned from, hey, it's generating video, to now edit video. So we can now click edit video. This is now going to take us into the actual video editor, and then this is going to, the fun thing about this is I don't know how this is going to turn out. I don't know how the video is going to look until we see it. And then remember, we were talking about like kind of going through the iterative process. We can change it as a go. So let's hopefully see what it does, and let's see if it's interesting. Let's have a look. So okay, this looks interesting. Let's play it. Let's make this larger. Let's play it.
In the cradle of civilization, a beacon of democracy emerged, ancient Greece. Picture a world where every voice mattered, where citizens gathered in the agora to debate and decide the fate of their city-state. The birthplace of democracy, a concept so radical, it shook the foundations of power. The power of the people resonated from the hills of Athens to the shores of Sparta, shaping their...
Now, you can see how this comes together, and to be honest, like, every time I see it, I'm always like, it's kind of cool to see, because this is something I never thought about. Neil just gave a suggestion, and then it's already gone like, don't worry, I got you. And it's already made a video, and you kind of see now. I'm calling it a video, but it's not technically a video just yet. What it is it is a video, but it's not like in terms of an A roll where it's like active moving persons. Like, for example, this person's now moving around and it's all of this, but it's almost like these stills. You know, like how GTA loading screen is. It's almost like that at the moment, but it's going to improve. But you can see how this comes together and how it zooms in, for example, like this. But on top of this, you can see how it's generated all of this, but you can see that there's a bunch of stuff, a bunch of features that I've implemented. For example, the whole goal of this is to make a web application of Final Cut Pro, add AI to it, and make a script generator that is able to translate into the video and make a quick content creation workflow that I can go, boom, I want to export quick, and wait, let me zoom out. Boom, I want to export quick to my YouTube short. I want to go to TikTok. No, I want to go to Instagram story. It's kind of this kind of idea. It's a streamlined workflow. But on top of that, we got options. For example, I don't want the subtitle on the bottom. I want to put it in the middle so that when I talk, it's going to be on the middle or so. If I don't want that, I can choose to, for example, add an animation. For example, instead of a fade in like this, I want it to slide in. So, for example, it's now going to slide in effect, just like that. So you can see how like this is at this stage, this is where it is, and it's a totally usable tool, but where it's going to go is where it's going to be more exciting. Also, for example, imagine the ability to create this create a video from scratch with the likes of Sora integration or so. This is just using basic images and then some sort of like editing manipulation so it looks like it's a moving video. And I'm talking too much, so I'm going to let this play.
In the cradle of civilization, a beacon of democracy emerged, ancient Greece. Picture a world where every voice mattered, where citizens gathered in the agora to debate and decide the fate of their city-state.
Okay, one thing I want to also add is that since this is technically unique, so if you make this is a one-of-one. So in terms of copyrights and all of that, this is kind of an interesting thing because it's yours technically. So anyways,
the birthplace of democracy, a concept so radical it shook the foundations of power. The power of the people resonated from the hills of Athens to the shores of Sparta, shaping their destiny through voting on laws and electing leaders. Democracy was more than a system. It was a way of life, a testament to the strength of the collective voice.
Yeah, Neil mentioned this is how I expect to talk to AI in the future. Yep. And then you can hear the voice. We have the ability to change the voice. Right now, the voice it's 90% natural, but there's a hint of you can hear the AI voice. Now, this is the next iteration. What we're going to be doing is always making it as natural sounding as possible. The thing about this is, and as you mentioned, like how the music, I asked a question to get back a mini documentary. Yep, you can also do it, but yeah, that's cool. One thing I just want to also mention is currently it's kind of capped at 60 seconds in terms of like the video creation, only because like it's going to get really expensive really quickly right now. And this is something I'm trying to work on to drive down costs, and then this is going to be a lot of things. But yeah, you can try and do this. You can make a mini documentary technically by making a series of different videos or so, but you can see that it can go further than 1 minute. But what you'll need to do is that the export of it is not going to be more than a minute. You're not able to export. The closest thing you'll probably be able to do is like screen record at this moment. It's only because letting anyone make a 20-minute video is going to get very expensive very quickly. So anyways, what I was talking about is, like, as Neil mentioned, is the music will make or break this video, and that's absolutely true. But it's not only just the music, there's other factors too. The images can make or break it, and also this is a very fine line between actually making interesting video or just making AI slop. Like, for example, you know, when you're on shorts and you just see this AI kind of video and it's just like it's low content, it's low it just looks like it's just been spiced together. That is something that we don't want to do. We want the whole idea of this to be like a creativity canvas. For example, hey, I have this idea, I want to create this video to quickly and kind of get this idea. But it doesn't just have to be this. It can just be as simple as like, I have an idea of I want to have this storyboard in mind, but I can't really visualize it. Can you help me visualize it? This is what this tool set is able to do. And so now you can try this out. This is Scripteditor.ai. It's live. This is actually the first time I've made a project, and I've kind of pushed it in a kind of way that looks more like a product or so. But I'm just going to also just let this play a bit more.
The legacy of ancient Greece lives on in our modern world.
So, okay, look at this. So in this example, this is kind of something we don't really want. Maybe you might want this, but let's say, this doesn't look like ancient Greece. Like, it's kind of got kind of skyscrapers in the background. It's not really fitting what we want. All we have to just do is just click on the element itself, and then we'll have the ability to get like details on the AI generated. You can see here that how the AI generated, it says a modern landscape with classical Greece architecture influences present architectural influences present day. We can choose to regenerate the screen into something that is more better. Now you can just literally say, hey, I want to do blah blah blah, and it will generate the screen, and then it'll update this. But I just want to just generate the screen scene just straight away because of demo time. And it's about where I'm at. It's about 20 minutes to 2025, which is going to be. It's going to be an interesting year, and I wish all the best. So, Flip King, hey, what's up? All right, I appreciate that. So you can see Flip King, what we're talking about is that we're creating a video via a script. So imagine like Final Cut Pro, but imagine we had like a document that we can say, hey, I want you to make a what Neil mentioned, something about the birth of democracy of ancient Greece. So you can look at the playback, by the way, how we just did that. Once we create this video, you can see it here. And then also what I just did is generate a new scene. So now look at this.
Join me on this journey through
let's see if this is going to play.
as we explore the root.
There's ability to like reload the canvas or so. So let's just see if it's all here. All right.
Join me on this journey through time.
I think it was this image actually that we changed. So you can see that it kind of regenerated the same idea because we didn't change the prompt. So it just gave us another thing. So this is kind of what we're doing. We're kind of creating this video via a series of this. Now, the next step is actually having these images moving. Imagine the individuals here moving around. Imagine the skyscrapers, like birds going around, the actual background changing. It sounds crazy right now, but it's definitely in the roadmaps coming, which is going to be something very interesting. I really recommend if you're watching this to really try out Script Editor. There's a feedback here that, for example, you can report an issue. This will just take you to the Discord. How do I go back? This will just take us back to the Discord or so, and then it will take you to a channel so you can just like provide the feedback. Any features that you think is worth implementing, please do. I'm thinking of actually having this kind of contributors thing because I really want to give credit to if there's any kind of features that actually make it into this. Now you can see that this is how we've implemented this. You can edit this, for example. It's a full-on editor. We can change this. We could reorder this. You can try it out for yourself. You can see the duration and everything. But one thing I wanted to also tell you is also, hey, this is the script. Okay, no, this is the video, but I want to make this now a 16:9. But the thing about this is that a traditional software, you're going to take forever to now change the aspect ratio to like a YouTube video. But with Script Editor now, all you have to do is just click this, change the aspect ratio, and boom, that's the aspect ratio changed. And then now it's a YouTube video.
In the cradle of civilization, a beacon of democracy emerged, ancient Greece. Picture a world where every voice mattered, where citizens gathered in the
and as you can see, is able to smartly change the aspect ratio, put the subtitles, and then also have it in sync.
The power of the people.
And as you can see, remember when we had it before, it was just given this kind of vertical thing. With this, now we got more depth. We can see the ancient Greece. We can see like they're kind of standing in somewhat of a military kind of formation as they're talking. And you can see it's like slightly zooming in. This is exactly what we're doing. Now, imagine this with background sound effects. Oh, let's actually do this background sound effects. I just want to show you how this works. This is currently a very experimental feature, but you can see here that there's this idea of generating ambience. I am going to generate ambience and see what it is. Now, I don't know what it's going to do. It's the whole idea is it takes the context of the video and then tries and matches what it thinks the sound should be. So let's actually try that. So if we click on this and just go to, you can see that here we can generate the scene. We can regenerate the audio with a different voice. In fact, we can choose Amy's voice. I can generate that. And also I'm going to just, let's actually do Amy's voice first so you can see how we can change the sound. And then I'll show you the generating of the ambience after. So this is Amy's voice. Let's see it.
From the hills of Athens to the shores of Sparta, shaping their destiny through voting on laws and electing leaders.
It shook the foundation.
So you can see how like we can actually kind of make it like multiple voices.
So radical. It shook the foundations of power.
Oh, thanks, Infinite Earth.
The power of the people resonated from the hills of Athens to the shores of Sparta.
And you can see how like there's inflection and everything. Now the thing about this is, okay, the goal here is that we don't want this to be AI slop. We don't want it to look like, hey, this is clearly generated by AI. Even if it is, it has to have this kind of informative thing. So I don't know if you've seen like something like Zach D films, like his shorts that are very interesting. It's kind of like, it looks like it's 3D modeled, but imagine now you can just make shorts on like the top 100 influential figures of history and just make a YouTube channel of that, and it's just going to be 1 minute shorts of a bunch of this, and this can be a whole YouTube content creation or so. But I kind of want to, the thing about this is what I find interesting, it's very objective. It either works or not. You can see it and say, it's actually interesting, or no, this looks terrible. And then with that, there's no kind of like in between. It's very either it works or it doesn't. And with this, there's iteration that will become better and better and better and better. And this is kind of the thing that is going to be more interesting as time goes on with like the likes of new AI, cheaper cost and so. Now, let me talk about generating the ambience. There's so many features here, so I can't go through all of them, but let me just try this generate ambience. This is going to be a hit and miss. I hope it's going to be a hit here because the whole idea is it adds sound effects. Now, the thing about these sound effects, these are now added to an audio library that's actually public, so anyone can use. So, for example, this is drums from Shaka Zulu that I can add. Well, not these drums, but let's play this one. So I could choose to add that on also, but let's try and see what is generated. Okay, so that was a fully generated AI video, AI sound effects. And that sound effect looked like it was trying to do some kind of cinematic rising score, which is kind of interesting. I've never seen that. I asked it for a sound effect and it gave a rising score. And this is kind of the interesting thing about it. It's like it's a platform canvas. It's very flat. Like I have to learn how to use this. The platform even that I built I have to learn how to use it because it's unpredictable on what it can provide. But once this is generated, this is added to the audio library also. All right, cool. Like 10 minutes to 2025. You know what? I think I'm gonna let this go into 2025, and then we'll just do a little Happy New Year's after it. I'm like in a time zone probably ahead of most people here right now, so you can hear it. Now, it sounds very odd. You can hear like it's trying to make a rising score. It's not 100% there, but you can see like what the potential could be. And then, of course, I can choose to regenerate it and hopefully it can do it better. But you can see that the sound is very loud and it can be overriding the voice. We can actually just reduce it by actually changing the sound effects. So you can think of this like a sound effects player. And once you play it, You can hear it's like slightly low and mellow. I can choose to move the audio that was on this one to here, and then boom. Oh no, hold on, that's not the right audio, is it? Let's add this audio. So we can just move this here. And now in terms of the video editor, this is currently the layout it is. Now let me know how we can possibly improve this, only in the feedback, but let's play this.
In the cradle of civilization, a beacon of democracy emerged, ancient Greece.
It looks like this is
Picture a
playing.
world where every voice mattered, where citizens.
But you can see like how I'm just mixing and matching everything together. Now you can see that this is the generative audio. We can choose to save this and so. Once we save this and then so, now let's go back to our scripts on our another tab that you'll see here. Remember we got the script and then we just created this video from this script just like that. And it's like the seed of the idea and boom, the script comes together just like that. But once we actually go back to our main menu, we can see the bunch of scripts that we've created before. And I've been playing around with it. So for example, I've made different scripts like Godzilla vs King Kong and so. But you can see like all these scripts are here. They're just loading. I don't have the best of internet speeds right now. But while that loads, you can see that we are able to click on publish. And then once we click on publish, we see like this is like the thumbnail editor. And so, and then for example, we could choose to publish here. The next steps is actually adding a inbuilt publishing. Can you nudge your volume up just a bit? Missing some audio due to road noise. Thanks. I really appreciate, so I think this is the loudest I can do without clipping the audio in terms of like the volume level getting all distorted. I don't have currently the best sound equipment for this, so it's kind of in terms of the gain I need a cloud lifter. I don't have that at the moment, so apologies, but this is probably the loudest it can be for now. Hopefully when you get back you'll be able to see this and rewatch this, and that'll be much appreciated. Oh, by the way, if you're here, hit the like button because that's good for the algorithm. So you can see that this is the thumbnail editor. Once I come to here, this is the thumbnail editor that we can implement. I haven't used this in a while. I don't know if this is going to work. This is very experimental. So I'm going to try this one more thing. So give me a random idea. Okay, I don't think the playback is going to catch up. So I'm going to think of another idea. Let's just say dog on the moon. Cinematic 4K. And it's just going to be, the whole idea of this is imagine like a AI Photoshop. That's it. The whole idea here is that we're providing this content workflow that's going to create this. While this creates this, I'm going to quickly go back to here and to show you the whole point of this, why this is a point. These are all audio. This is all the contents that we've created. Imagine this being exported to a channel, like 100 biographies or so. So you can see how like this is kind of speed, streamlining content creation, but at the same time, we trying to avoid AI slop because some people can take this content and then kind of create like hundreds of AI videos and then kind of put like that kind of, that where half of the screen is like the actual content and the other screen is like someone playing Subway Surfers. We're trying to avoid that, but I mean, it's a content creation tool, so whatever you want to use. But I want to show you this. This is the Kanban tool. So this is the next step is like teamwork. For example, I have the script. Remember the script I just made about the rise of Rome? This is it here. I can move this to in progress and then boom. This could be for teamwork. Hey, you get a notification. The person has now made it in progress. Let's see what we can do, some implementation. So this is all, I just had to add in your volume. And your volume is a little lower. Okay, thanks for the feedback. What I would do is definitely try and get some kind of gain lifter to like improve the audio quality. But this is it overall. All right, remember we talked about the dog on the moon? I just went to the new tab. This is it here. You can see that this is the dog on the moon. You can see how we can now, for example, use the text to implement. So this is a thumbnail, dog on the moon. So this is actually a previous implementation that I did. This was a while back, but I never had time to talk about this. So I mean, things kind of get busy, and then sometimes once I make a feature, I kind of make another feature and another feature, then I just get carried away. But this is really cool feature. I really think has a lot of potential to be used. It's a very quick way of just making a thumbnail editor, and you can see that it's able to do this straight away. Dog on the moon. If you have a suggestion of something else, I can just basically have another draw AI. Let's do one other thing here. Let's add what's a random thing? Let's do Spider-Man on, I don't know. Hold on. Is that some Disney copyright thing? I'll think of something else. I don't know. Camel. I did this before. Camel on in sunshades in 4K. All right, so this was just kind of another thing. So boom, we can make a quick thumbnail like this. We could choose to make it larger like this, and then boom, this could be a thumbnail. It's got everything that you will require to do this, and you can choose to export this. And as you can see that the quality, of course this is the canvas quality, but once you export it, it's going to be a higher quality. But this is all generated by AI, and then you can see that we can choose to change the kind of layers. So boom, this is it. I'm saying boom a lot, but you can see this is come on some sunshades. There's this thing that was implemented, is this background removal. Basically what we're able to do is actually a very smart way of removing the background. I think it's not going to be as great on this one because it's kind of got a lot of kind of things that blend in, but let's see how it works. What we're doing is now removing the background. You can try this all on Script Editor. I really recommend you to try this out and tell me what you think. But boom, that looks great. Actually, you can see that camel on the moon with the dog. So in fact, let's just actually flip this over and have some sunshades, and you can see how random this gets. So this is a thumbnail editor, but to be honest, I think it can go further than thumbnail editor and be random, get more random. We can save this, and then that's our thumbnail and all. So that's it overall. I don't want to go too much into it. I just wanted to just give you this idea of, hey, this is what it can be, and then go ahead and experiment with it. You can see that it's uploaded here. Now, one thing is that I need to make this full screen, so it's not just a small image here, but you can see how like we're actually building this as we're talking. So if you provide some kind of idea of some feature, or it's going to be built straight away. So that is it overall. It's now 5 minutes to New Year's, at least here. So I think does anyone have any questions? I'm just gonna kind of slow down the talking while I wait for the chat to catch up. But this is Scripteditor.ai. I really recommend you to try it. Now, of course, the whole idea is that it's kind of, one thing I'm looking at is the idea of building a SaaS. The idea of like software as a service, and then right now you can try this out. You get like 100 credits. That's enough to make a video like the rise of ancient Rome or so. Rome, it was Greece that we talked about, and it kind of experiment with the features or so. The reason why then there's also some pricing plan also that you could try out. The reason why there needs to be a pricing plan is because these API cost a lot. We'll talk more about these kind of API calls, and so I would talk more very quickly about how this works. For example, this is Script Editor. We got some auxiliary tools. This is like the thumbnail editor or the AI Photoshop editor as well. And then this is also the video output that we could provide. And this is the video output that comes as a whole. How this works is, of course, the technical stack I just want to quickly go over is that we're using Next.js. Once we use Next.js, we also actually hosting this on our back end with Node.js. So we can actually just separate the Next.js from like the serverless calls, so we can at least have this kind of this backend server that's going to be run on Heroku that can be scaled up as we wish to. And of course, Heroku is a very good platform, but of course you can move this into something like your own Kubernetes or so. But I'm trying to get to the idea of like getting to simple solutions, and often the simplest solution tends to be the most elegant one in my opinion. So it works, and that's the back end. And of course, we do a series of API calls. We have workers, and these workers is what I described to you about. Like, they go off and then go and basically, you could call them workers, but they're actually like departments. There's the department of sound effects, the department of visual, and then they all come together and report to the director. The director then splices it all together and makes this video editor that we saw here. So which we saw here in this kind of video here. So that's all. If we don't have any other questions, glad you said the user owns what is generated. License will be absolutely. This is really important, and this is the whole idea. The whole idea here is that it's meant to be a generative platform. You have what you create. Now, of course, there's going to be some guardrails, so it's not like gonna be offensive content or so, at least within reason, because like, come on. Anyways, but ideally you do whatever you wish to. So for example, you can talk about or you can create anything that you wish to be. I would like to be able to upload and connect my own images. Yep. And thanks. That is a great feature. And that's actually something that we want to do in the future. So if we come back to here, right now we see that we have this music library. Right now, everything is kind of closed. So you can only use what is in the music library, but that would be definitely something that we want to implement. So for example, you can actually add your text here, similar to how we had the AI Photoshop. You can add text here, and then we'll be able to then upload libraries. So for example, let's say if you decide to make one of those brain rot like YouTube content creations where you have Subway Surfer, you can upload our Subway Surfer here. You can make this smaller and it can take the other half. The whole idea here is a canvas. You can choose what to do. You can either choose to make something educational, informative, or you can choose to just basically make whatever slop you want also, which is kind of interesting, because I really do believe that creativity should be like that, and you should be able to choose to do whatever it is. Happy New Year's. It's 2025 now. Wow. I did this on a live stream, but I think I can hear some sound effects through this also. But Happy New Year's. I wish you all a Happy New Year's. 2025 is going to be a very interesting year. And I wish you all best. Also, on another thing about that is like our goals and what we plan to achieve. Like, the most important thing, I was talking to a friend today about this earlier, but like, it's one thing to have motivation to do goals or so, but the most important thing out of it, and I don't want to go too motivation like, but it's about discipline. Like, you need to be able, because motivation kind of is something that comes and goes. It's like this sudden burst of energy. It's like if we're playing Mario Kart, there's kind of speed ramps. That's that motivation. Yeah, it can take you fast. It can increase like your speed, but eventually it's gonna naturally wane off. But the most important thing you should have is that, like, and this is something that I'm trying to give to myself, is this idea of discipline. Like, even when you don't want to do it, you must do it. And then a lot of things is just based on consistency, and that's what we're going to be doing. So I wish you all the best on 2025. Thoughts on self-hosting? That's a great question. And so self-hosting, self-hosting, you mean as in self-hosting this? That's actually a good point. I would be open to it, whereby the whole idea is that we can have this kind of mirrorless like front end that anyone can use, and then the kind of API, this back end is something we can talk to. Self-hosting can work, but there's kind of a lot of moving parts, at least at this stage, that in terms of it would take some work to make self-hosted. Ultimately, I like to go for my paid subscription on AI generate music and do it automatically. Yep, that's it. That's a great question. So ideally, what it is in terms of, and we can talk about the business model, half of it is that we're just basically paying OpenAI, we're using the subscription. We're just paying them to just, hey, can you generate this on the behalf of us? And then that's basically a lot of what the subscriptions go into. And this is something that Okay, I think I know what you mean by self-hosting. Self-hosting in terms of like taking these AI models and making these, like running this on a server or something, or like an AWS server or something like this, and using our own like NVIDIA chips. That is something that is definitely going to be looked into. Right now, I don't have the funds or the deep pockets of big tech or anything to do something like that. So what we're just doing is leveraging as much as the APIs that we have available, and then seeing how far we can basically squeeze out of this kind of proverbial kind of orange, and seeing what we can do with it. Now there's going to be also other features, for example, whereby you see this scene here. You know how we just remove the background? Imagine if we can remove the background of an image or a video, and then we can replace it with space. This is the things we're going with. So I really recommend you to try this out. It's now 2025, and what better way than spending it talking to you guys. I appreciate Sean. Yeah, I've been here. I appreciate Sean, Logic, anyone who's watching this. Neil, thanks for the actual kind of content we created. I'll probably make these into shorts. Let me know what you think about these live streams, because I did enjoy this, and then and of course Just Flip King, Infinite Earth, and everybody, and as well as Bartia. I hope I said your name right. I wish you all, and anyone who's watching this on the playback, a great 2025. That's all, and for the first live stream, and let me know your feedback on this. Peace.